rAVe Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary K.
Hey everyone, this is Gary K, and welcome to a special edition of my Rants and Raves video cast. Today is all about digital signage, and joining me today to talk about digital signage is Michelle Montazeri. Did I pronounce that right? Montazeri?
Close, Montazeri.
Montazeri,
Yes.
who is the manager of digital signage for Legrand AV. How are you doing, Michelle?
I'm good, Gary. How about you?
Thanks for helping me pronounce your name. My name is similar. People pronounce it a bunch of different ways, and that happens every once in a while. But anyway, I'm kind of focused on 2023 right now with regard to digital signage. I think 2022, everyone's spending time catching up with all the stuff they already had in process. And so I'm more interested in what you see, because Legrand sits in a kind of unique position because you are a glue company that works with all different brands out there. What do you see as sort of some of the trends that we can expect for 2023?
Sure thing. Yeah, the trend topic is interesting for us because we get to play a little bit of consultant since most of our products are ancillary in most signage applications. But that being said, I think one of the biggest areas that we're seeing growth in is how to measure the ROI of a rollout. So in order to do that, we're seeing an explosion of data and analytics. Everybody's looking for data so they can measure their investment on their signage rollout. I think in addition, this kind of ties into AI. And so capturing the audience that's actually interacting with your devices. And, how do we personalize that experience even more and make it more engaging for that particular individual? And then I think the other piece of that is, can we make technology more equitable for the audiences that are interacting with our devices? We've got some large tech gaps across generations, and we want to make it comfortable for everybody. So I think data and analytics can certainly help there.
Well, it brings up a bunch of questions that I have. I'll start with the end, and that is equity. I mean, part of that is something simple like, a sign that can be in different languages or interpreted in different languages as you walk up to it. I had this vision that one day you'd be able to hold your phone up to a sign and it would automatically translate the content. I mean, with AI and some of the new tech that we have, how close are we away from that? And how far away are we from that?
It's a great question. We're actually closer than you would think. There is a new technology called near field communication. So it's kind of replacing what we know as traditional interactivity in signage. And, as you walk past a live device, it will ping your personal device and ask you if you would like to interact. And in doing so, it makes it a very comfortable and personal experience for everybody. And in that instance, then you have, your Google Translate or whatever your device settings are will be applied to your application. So it becomes a much more comfortable experience for everybody. And I think, the implementation of voice and haptics and QR are still really important to have. I can't see anything replacing all of those interactivity solutions, because I think everybody wants to experience it in a different way.
Agreed. And then going back to your first point, the ROI, is there a formula for that? Like how are companies, are they wanting to break even in a specific amount of time, or how are companies, what are they using as a measurement tool for ROI?
I think it varies greatly across all markets. I think corporations are probably feeling a little bit more pressure to measure their ROI right now. Conference spaces and corporate spaces are not being used at the extent that they were in the past. So they may have a little bit more incentive to measure their ROI. But a retailer, for example, think about, you walk into a gas station and they've sold their advertising on all of their displays to a particular brand. It's a win-win. So they've paid back for their hardware investment, but at the same time giving new branding to a particular product within their space. So I think it varies across the board. It depends on the application and what their objective is.
Yeah. So and I guess I see a lot of growth in signage with universities. How would they have an ROI? I mean, is the hope that they sell access to the athletic department who's going to pay for it, or what's the trend with regard to higher education?
So there's probably two areas in higher ed that are poised for expansion in signage. One is recruiting. That's where much of the dollars can be spent because that's where the dollars come in. You know, I'm a huge Ohio State fan. So as a Big Ten organization, you know, adding USC and UCLA recently, it's all about dollars, right?
Right.
So how
Yeah.
do you
Follow the
maximize
money.
dollars? Oh yeah, follow the money. That's right. And then on the flip side, you have the safety and security concerns on campus.
Okay.
And so how do we ensure messaging gets across to all individuals on campus on some of these very large campuses that are, you know, seeming like a city? How do we make sure all students get the same information at the same time and avoid what we sometimes see, which is, you know, a group of people running and nobody's really certain why they're running, and it causes, you know, mayhem. So I think there's two sides. There's the safety security side that is probably less concerned about ROI.
Yeah.
It's more about operations. And then you've got this, you know, follow the money piece.
So if you look at trending topics for 2022, one of those that's up there really, really high, in addition to NFT, is Metaverse. I'm curious is there anything going on with digital signage here? Because that seems like a great opportunity to be able to throw messages wherever you want to throw them. Sort of like Minority Report in this world that we're
totally
imagining. Yeah.
It is, it's beyond my generation. I'll put it that way, beyond myself. I'm not so into social media, but social media has a big impact on retailers today, particularly since we've been in home for 2 years. That's where most of brands are getting their audience. And so when you walk into an environment, how can we make somebody feel like they can interact with our social media platform? So yes, we're seeing the metaverse impact digital signage. We're seeing the need for live streaming of content, which puts a bandwidth issue on your content. And that kind of leads to hardware decisions and you know, remote management of your systems. And it leads to other opportunities for those of us that are in the hardware sales side and even in the software sales side to make sure that those objectives are met. But certainly, you know, this new generation that is very much into, I want live data, I want it today. And by the way, I want to be on your social media platform while I'm in your store. Yeah. Kind of important. So yeah,
especially if you're under the age of 30, I think that's normalized there. So Michelle, thanks for joining me. I have one other quick question. So is the rAVe digital signage product line in one place, or because I know it crosses many different brands, because you have, you know, obviously the mounts for the displays and you have the you know, the C2G product line. Is it all wrapped in one place, or how would I learn more?
So there's a couple ways. I am super excited to drop a little hint that we're working on a pretty exciting campaign for 2023 focused solely on signage. But as you know, our footprint is in AV, so we do spread across different platforms. But if you look within a vertical market, for example, on our website, you will find digital signage as an application within that market. So focused on corporate or higher ed. And certainly you can email our team at av.signage@legrand.com at any time, and we're happy to help.
Perfect. There you go. So I appreciate you joining me today. I appreciate you watching. And Michelle, you have a great day. And thanks for doing this video cast.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thanks for watching. All of our video casts can be found at ravepubs.com.
rAVe Radio with rAVe.